Long ago, before the nation had a name, before the rivers had songs, there was only fear. The land of ancient Van Lang lay broken beneath the hooves of the northern invaders, the cruel army of the An. Villages burned, fields turned to ash. The cries of children echoed in the valleys, lost among the smoke. The people of Jiaoqi prayed for deliverance. Yet no hero rose, for who could stand against an army that devoured everything in its path? But sometimes, when the world is darkest, the heavens plant a single seed. In a small village named Fudong, beside the Duong River, a poor widow worked the fields alone. One night, as she rested beneath the stars, a blinding light fell from the sky like a comet, silent and golden. When it touched the earth, the wind ceased, and the air shimmered with strange warmth. The woman returned home, and soon after, she found herself with child. Months passed, and she gave birth to a son, a small boy, quiet and pale. He did not cry. He did not speak. He only gazed at the world with eyes too calm for an infant. The years rolled on. The boy did not crawl, did not laugh, did not utter a sound. He lay still, as though waiting for something, or listening to a voice only he could hear. Villagers whispered that he was cursed, but his mother, poor and weary, loved him fiercely, believing that the gods would not give her such a child without purpose. And so she kept him alive, day by day, until destiny knocked at their door. The drums of war echoed once more. The army of Ain had crossed the mountains. Villages were falling one after another. King Hung's messengers galloped through every province, calling out, "The invaders are at our gates. Who among the people will rise and defend the land?" But none answered. Fear had broken the nation. The royal messenger rode through Fudong village. The people hid in silence. Only one voice spoke. A voice from the hut of the widow. "Mother, bring the messenger to me." The mother froze. Dropping her basket, her son, the silent child, had spoken for the first time in 3 years. She rushed to call the messenger. Inside the dim hut, the boy sat upright, eyes blazing with an otherworldly light. His voice was steady, older than his years. "Go tell the king," he said, "to forge for me an iron horse, an iron armor, and an iron whip. When they are ready, I shall ride to war and drive the enemy from our land." The messenger stared speechless. A child, barely 3 years old, spoke as though thunder itself had taken form. But there was truth in the boy's gaze, a truth that silenced doubt. He rode back to the capital at once. When the king heard the tale, he bowed his head and said, "If heaven wills it, we shall obey." The royal smiths worked day and night. The roar of furnaces filled the hills. Sparks painted the night sky as the iron horse took shape, a creature of metal and flame. Meanwhile, in Fudong, something miraculous occurred. The boy began to change. He stood up. He walked. He grew. With every sunrise, his body stretched taller, his voice deeper, his hunger endless. He ate all the rice his mother could cook, then all the rice of the village, then all the rice from neighboring towns. But no one complained, because in the boy's eyes, they saw something holy, the fire of deliverance. By the time the blacksmiths arrived with the armor and horse, the child had become a giant. He towered above the houses, his head brushing the treetops, his breath like wind through bamboo. The people fell to their knees and cried, "Heaven has sent us a savior!" The day the An army reached the capital, the sky turned black. Drums of war shook the valleys. From Fudong, the giant stepped forth. The iron horse awaited, vast, gleaming, alive with red light. When he climbed onto its back, the earth trembled. When he spoke, the clouds split apart. "I am the child of this land," he declared. "I ride for heaven and for the people." The horse screamed, rearing high, flames bursting from its nostrils. Each hoofstep scorched the earth. The giant rode. Every stride was a thunderclap. Every swing of his iron whip shattered 10,000 foes. The An soldiers fierce, and countless met him on the plain. Spears shattered like reeds. Chariots splintered beneath his horse's hooves. Flames followed him like a storm. The sky filled with smoke and lightning. The iron horse spat fire. The ground glowed beneath his charge. The invaders screamed that a god had descended, but the giant showed no mercy. He rode straight into their heart, tearing banners, breaking armies. The war cries of men became whispers beneath his roar. At last, his iron whip broke, snapped in two. For a moment, silence fell. Then the warrior dismounted, strode to the edge of the battlefield and ripped a bamboo grove from the earth. The green stalks turned to steel in his hands. He swung. The forest itself became a weapon. The legend says the sky turned green with light. Wherever his bamboo struck, the enemy vanished. Even the mountains bowed. When the last horn of the Un sounded retreat, the battlefield was nothing but ash and silence. The warrior stood alone, his armor glowing like molten gold beneath the fading sun. The people came running, crying out in joy. They fell to their knees before the giant, shouting, "Saint Savior, hero of heaven." But the warrior did not answer. He looked to the north where the horizon met the sky, and his eyes filled with light. The iron horse neighed once more. Flames rose around them both. He turned toward Mount Sok, and in a single leap, he and his steed vanished into the clouds. Witnesses said the mountain shone with fire that day. When it faded, only footprints remained. Giant prints, pressed into the stone, as though heaven itself had touched the earth. The people built a temple there to honor the heavenly warrior, the boy who spoke once and changed the destiny of a nation. From that day, they called him Giong, the saint of the iron horse. And they swore, "Whenever our land is in peril, he shall return." Centuries passed, yet the legend of Giong never faded. To the scholars, it was myth. To the people, it was truth. For in that story lies the soul of Vietnam itself. A child, born in silence, a nation awakening from fear. A voice that speaks when all others are silent. A warrior who rises from the fields, not from palaces. Every symbol in his tale carries meaning. The iron horse, the unity of man and heaven, strength forged from suffering. The bamboo spear, the spirit of the people, flexible yet unbreakable. The ascent to heaven, the immortality of courage and faith. He represents the belief that anyone, no matter how small, can hold divine power when their heart burns for their homeland. His mother's love, the villager's faith, the king's obedience, all threads of the same story, the birth of a people who refuse to surrender. Even today, when you stand on Sok Mountain, where the great bronze statue of St. Giong faces the sky, you can almost hear the distant thunder, the echo of hooves, the breath of fire. And you remember that every age has its giants, that when darkness rises, light always follows. There are heroes who seek glory, and there are those sent by heaven. St. Giong never sought power nor throne. He came, he fought, and he vanished, leaving behind a spirit that no blade can kill. The legend of the heavenly warrior is not just a tale for children. It is the heartbeat of a nation, the reminder that courage, once awakened, can never die. As long as the bamboo grows green and the mountains stand beneath the sky, the spirit of Giong rides still.